At exactly 5:17 p.m. on January 30, 1948, 3 gunshots shattered the evening air at Birla House in New Delhi. Mahatma Gandhi, making his way to his customary prayer meeting, fell to the ground as Nathuram Godse stood over him with a smoking Italian Beretta pistol. The 78-year-old leader, supported moments earlier by his grandnieces Abba and Manu, reportedly uttered "Hey Ram," before dying within 30 minutes. Herbert Reiner Jr., an American vice consul attending the prayer meeting, immediately grabbed Godse and held him until police arrived. The assassination was not spontaneous. It was the culmination of a carefully orchestrated conspiracy that had been brewing since January 13, 1948, when Gandhi began his final fast. When permitted by the court to defend himself, Godse read a remarkable 92-page handwritten statement over 9 hours. In this lengthy justification, he outlined his primary grievances against Gandhi, centering on what he perceived as the Mahatma's appeasement of Muslims and betrayal of Hindu interests. Godse's most specific accusation concerned Gandhi's fast unto death, demanding India release 55 crores to Pakistan as part of post-partition asset division. In his court statement, Godse declared Gandhi himself had said that it was most difficult to get any government to change its decision, but the government of India changed its decision not to give 55 crores to Pakistan because of Gandhi's fast. He saw this as evidence that Gandhi's Pakistan-friendly policy took precedence over the will of the Indian people. However, the facts reveal a more complex reality. The 55 crores represented the second installment of a legally agreed division of assets. 75 crores total was to be paid to Pakistan, with 20 crores already released. When Pakistan's invasion of Kashmir began, India withheld the payment. Gandhi's fast, which began January 13, 1948, was primarily aimed at restoring communal peace in riot-torn Delhi, though he did support honoring the financial agreement. Beyond the immediate trigger, Godse expressed deeper ideological disagreements. He viewed Gandhi's commitment to nonviolence as weakness that had emasculated Hindus and enabled Muslim aggression. In his statement, he claimed he revered Gandhi, but believed his removal was necessary for India's survival as a Hindu nation. The assassination involved a broader conspiracy beyond Godse. His primary collaborator was Narayan Apte, who handled logistics and financing. The conspiracy included Vishnu Karkare, Madanlal Pahwa, Gopal Godse, Nathuram's brother, Shankar Kistaya, and Dattatreya Parchura. The murder weapon was a Beretta M1934 semi-automatic pistol, serial number 606824. This reliable wartime weapon was procured through Dr. Dattatreya Parchura in Gwalior, who arranged its purchase from arms dealer Gangadhar Dandwat for 500 on January 28, 1948, just 2 days before the assassination. This was not Godse's first attempt on Gandhi's life. He had tried unsuccessfully in 1944 twice, and there was a failed bombing attempt on January 20, 1948, at Birla House involving co-conspirator Madanlal Pahwa. The trial began on May 27, 1948, at Delhi's Red Fort, and concluded February 10, 1949. Special Judge Atma Charan presided over proceedings that called 149 prosecution witnesses, while the defense called none. Godse defended himself and denied any wider conspiracy, claiming sole responsibility to protect his associates. On February 10, 1949, the court delivered its 111-page judgment. Nathuram Godse and Narayan Apte received death sentences and were hanged at Ambala Central Jail on November 15, 1949. 4 conspirators, Vishnu Karkare, Madanlal Pahwa, Shankar Kistaya, and Gopal Godse, received life imprisonment. Dattatreya Parchura got 7 years. Notably, Vinayak Damodar Savarkar was acquitted for lack of corroborative evidence. The court acquitted Savarkar. Evidence of his ideological influence on Godse was overwhelming. Godse and Apte were devoted followers of Savarkar's Hindutva ideology. Savarkar had developed this Hindu nationalist philosophy during his imprisonment, defining Hindus as those whose fatherland and Holy Land both lay in India, explicitly excluding Muslims and Christians. Contrary to later claims, substantial evidence indicates Godse never formally left the RSS. A document seized from RSS headquarters in Nagpur showed N.V. Godse Taylor attending an RSS meeting in Pune on May 11, 1940, 2 years after he supposedly joined the Hindu Mahasabha. Godse's brother Gopal later confirmed, "All the brothers were in the RSS. You can say we grew up in the RSS rather than in our homes." The overlap between RSS and Hindu Mahasabha membership was extensive, with many activists belonging to both organizations simultaneously. A British Foreign Office telegram from February 13, 1948, stated, "It has now been established that Godse, arrested as Mahatma Gandhi's assassin, was a member of the RSS and of the Mahasabha." Several historians in the 1965 Kapoor Commission raised questions about the investigation's thoroughness. Professor Claude Markovits attributed the trial's speed to Home Minister Vallabhbhai Patel's desire to avoid scrutiny for the failure to prevent the assassination. The Kapoor Commission, appointed after conspirator releases in 1964, sparked public outrage, had access to evidence not available during the original trial. The Kapoor Commission examined testimony from 2 of Savarkar's close associates, bodyguard Appa Ramachandra Kasar and Secretary Gajanan Vishnu Damla, who had not testified in 1948. Their statements confirmed multiple visits by Godse and Apte to Savarkar in January 1948, including after the failed January 20th bombing attempt. Justice Kapoor concluded, "All these facts taken together were destructive of any theory other than the conspiracy to murder by Savarkar and his group." Questions remain about the full extent of the conspiracy. The weapons journey from Gwalior involved multiple handlers, yet investigator Jagdish Prasad Goyal, described as the biggest arms dealer in Gwalior, was never named in the charge sheet. Some evidence suggests the conspiracy's origins may trace back to August 1947, around Independence Day. Prime Minister Nehru announced Gandhi's death with his famous words, "The light has gone out of our lives and there is darkness everywhere." The government immediately banned the RSS, though it was later lifted when investigations showed the organization was not directly involved in the conspiracy. However, the assassination gave Nehru an opportunity to suppress Hindu nationalist organizations he viewed as threats to secular governance. Gandhi's assassination occurred during a period of severe communal violence in Delhi. Just days before his death, Gandhi had visited the damaged Qutbuddin Bakhtiar Kaki Dargah in Mehroli, appealing for Hindu-Muslim unity and asking refugees to rebuild the damaged areas. His death temporarily quelled the riots as the nation mourned, but it also removed the most influential voice for communal harmony. The assassination remains a subject of intense historical and political debate. While Godse's guilt is unquestioned, questions persist about the investigation's completeness, the extent of organizational involvement, and whether political considerations influenced the scope of prosecutions. The Kapoor Commission's findings, published long after key figures had died, suggested a broader conspiracy than the original trial established. The assassination of Mahatma Gandhi represents a tragic convergence of ideological extremism, communal violence, and political calculation. Godse pulled the trigger, driven by a worldview that saw violence as necessary to establish Hindu supremacy, and viewed Gandhi's commitment to pluralism as an existential threat to that vision. While the immediate perpetrators face justice, the broader questions about institutional responsibility, investigative thoroughness, and the full scope of the conspiracy continue to shape historical understanding of this defining moment in India's journey as an independent nation. The murder removed not just a political leader, but the embodiment of nonviolent resistance and religious tolerance at a moment when India desperately needed both. In Godse's own words, he believed he was saving Hinduism and India. History suggests he delivered a grievous blow to both the values and the man who had helped birth the nation. Here's what I want to know from you. After hearing Godse's own words and the evidence from the trial records, what do you think was the real decisive factor behind Gandhi's assassination? Was it the 55 crore payment to Pakistan that triggered his final rage? His deep ideological hatred of Gandhi's Muslim appeasement? Political pressure from Hindu nationalist organizations? Or something else entirely that historians are still debating? Drop your analysis in the comments below using evidence from what you just learned. I'll personally reply to every thoughtful comment and pin the best source-based response that brings new insights to this historical mystery. If this investigation into Gandhi's assassination opened your eyes to details you'd never heard before, smash that like button. It tells YouTube to recommend this crucial history to more people who need to understand the full story. Subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want more such real stories. Remember, history isn't just about the past. It's about understanding how we got to where we are today. See you in the next investigation.